What's up? Am I live? I think I'm alive. Yes. Okay. It is looks very different when I'm on live, but I'm gonna be fine. Anyway, so what's up? How are you? I hope everybody are good. Everybody are fine and having fun. I just decided to go on kind of a spontaneous live to answer a lot of people questions about the last edition that I've just done in Geneva. So first of all, I am gonna try to do it in English, but if someone prefers me to pass the Hebrew or English or whatever, you're very welcome to write it in the comments. And as well, if you have questions, you're very welcome to ask in the comments. I see it and it's active, like I don't want to be here alone. So, hi, whoever it is which is watching, and you're welcome to just like write whatever you like. I'll be happy to communicate with you guys and not to be on my own here. So, I'm sorry, Hebrew speakers or French speakers. Je fais cette, I'm gonna do this in English so everybody can understand because I really got a lot of questions from other people in France, other people in Israel, other people in Europe in general about what's happening in these editions. So, this one I've just done not this week, the last week. I needed an extra week just to rest from this edition because it was 5 days, it was a full week. It was very, very intensive in Genève, in Théâtre Circule. So for me, it was the last edition that I'm planning to do this summer, at least for circus schools. I do have some other plans, but uh, that's kind of a summary for me, at least for the frontal editions for this summer for circus schools. So I do want to give you some of my conclusions and thoughts and emotions after doing this 4 frontal editions, 5 with the one from last year, and a lot of dossier and a lot of other things. So yeah, I will give you my answer that I received from this last edition as well because I did not share it with anyone yet, just with the people that did the auditions with me and my family basically. So yeah, I'm gonna share the answer at the end. And okay, so summarizing the editions of 2021. Okay, so in general, as I've done another live before when I was going to the first edition of this year in Lido, um, I already explained that there's a lot of steps. So arriving to a frontal audition is not the last step, but it's one out of many steps which are making you in or out of a circus school. Now, the general idea of doing a circus school or a circus university or an artistic program, which I already explained the differences, and if something is unclear about what I'm explaining in this live, so you're very welcome to go back to the last one I've done a few months ago in April, I think, or May. Um, so, hope, do you hear me? Like, I don't know if everybody hear me at all. Um, okay, so which editions I got to do frontally this year? So last year I sent it about 15 or 18 dossier, which is the files and videos and stuff, and I got to do only one frontal edition, which made me into a waiting list, which is I think for me is the most annoying position because it's not a complete yes and it's not a complete no, it's just a waiting list. So you don't really know if you're going to get into the school or not. But it was a really nice option just to arrive last year to Vertigo and to Torino in Italy and to just have a go. And it was really the first frontal audition I had. So this year it was with way less COVID craziness, but it was still a lot of COVID influence in it. So the frontal auditions that did happen, still you didn't really understood how many people you have that are doing the auditions because you have the frontal people, which were usually groups of around 10 or 12, something like this. And they're dividing it to much longer days, so it's longer periods, and you're arriving to just being one group in one day out of a week or a full time that the school is doing the audition. So you don't really know how many people are doing the auditions with you. And there is the virtual auditions as well. So it was very it's very complicated to just understand, is this a competition, is this a social thing, like how many people are involved. And I will share in a few more minutes about more about my conclusions from this. And this competition idea and perspective is a big conclusion out of this editions. So I'm just gonna give you a heads up of which editions I did got to do frontally this year. It was the pre-selection in Lido. I didn't even pass into the stage, but I was super stressed. And it was one day. It was very tough. The second edition I've done was for the artistic program in Piste des Ours in Cannes, the really south of France. And it was really fun. It was 3 days. It was really cool. And third one was in Chambéry, also an artistic program, and was one day only. It was 1 out of 2 days. And the audition that I've just done last week was in Théâtre Circule in Geneva, the suburbs of Geneva in Switzerland. So it was actually the first and only audition that I've done this year, which was not in France, surprisingly. And actually, I did thought that maybe I will be doing some more auditions continuously this summer, like longer into August and September in Spain and Portugal. There's still a few more schools which are doing auditions. So if you're into it, just it's something you should know. And you're very welcome to send me a message if you're into it and you want some help about this, because there are a few more schools which are doing auditions. But for me, I kind of got tired of this. So why did I got tired of this? And a bit of conclusions, just like really 3 or 4 conclusions from the last few editions that I've done this year. And again, this year I've sent a dossier for like, I don't know, 20 schools. So just to arrive to be in the last few people which are arriving to a frontal audition is also already a huge thing. So this, well, I wrote it as the second conclusion, but this is kind of the one of the conclusions, that just to arrive to do the audition is already a huge step. Okay, just to, like, as I said in the beginning, when we want to do a circus school, is actually kind of like, it's not shortening the way, but it's making the way a bit easier in a way, because you don't have to fight for everything. You have the facility, you have the people, you have the teachers, you have everybody to cooperate with you with a very well aimed, it's like you have a target, you know, that like by the end of the year you need to have an artistic project if you're in an artistic program, or you're gonna finish the degree if you're in the universities, or you're gonna have a show or a number or something that you're coming out of the school at the end of the year, and you know, okay, this is what I'm doing. And circus schools are there to help you with the facility, with the teachers, with the people around you, to make projects bigger, to find cooperations. But it's not the only way. It's one way, and it might be easy. And it seems like when you're passing the audition and you're getting this yes, it's that's it. They open the door, and there it goes. It's easy. But it's really not like that. Okay, there's a lot of things happening after the audition as well. So even just to arrive to do an audition and to be in the last 10 or 20 that they are taking into the frontal audition is a huge thing. Even if you're not getting into the school, even if you do, you have still a few more steps to do until you're getting into the school, finally, officially, whatever. So a little bit of connection to what I said before about the perspective and competition. So when we're getting into an audition, when we're doing it virtually, we have no idea how many people are watching us, how many other people have seen videos. Like, there's a lot of unknowing. When it's frontal, you see the other people. You have a safe space to speak and to share and to do things with other people. And you know that from one end, well, yeah, there's other aerialists or tissuists or people which are fighting for my spot, kind of. But from the other end, each and every one of those people might be with your class, like with you at your classroom for the next year or two or three. So you don't really want to, to compete with them. You don't really want to be like head to head with them. You don't really want to be like against anyone. You're cooperating, you're sharing. And I think that the biggest thing that this audition gave me was a huge perspective to where I am in my artistic way, my artistic path, and in my abilities and in what I want to do. If I want to have a car or a show or a street show or an indoor show or whatever, working with producers, working with myself, where am I in a relation to other people which are arriving to the auditions? If there's someone who just arrived to the audition from doing street shows everywhere, why don't I do street shows? If there's someone doing the auditions with me, who just goes to do some workshops somewhere, why can't I go and do workshops somewhere? So it's really gave me perspective of like my position and my possibilities of someone which is pretty much my situation, but is arriving from other places, either other places in France or other places in Europe, but is some of them really pass through other schools. So finally, I had the situation where I met other people pretty much my age, like 18 to 27, kind of this decade, that are all pretty much in my situation in life in general, and especially about my artistic way. So it was a lot of perspective given and taken. And it's really like, it's not, this addition moment is not about equation in general in life, because it's very personal. It's very personal about which art am I doing inside the circus. If I'm a juggler or I'm an aerialist, it's very different. And which one in those, because these are two huge fields. But it's also about this moment. Like maybe this moment I'm too tired because I just had a 10 hour train all night and I haven't slept. So maybe this moment I'm not good enough. And that what happened to me in Lido. I came at this moment, at this day. I barely slept the night before and I was super stressed. So even if I was in general good, or I want to make an equation between me and other aerialists there, well, in that moment, exactly, I was not strong enough or I was too tired. And on the other end as well, on that moment exactly, I knew how to dance the best way possible and I didn't care about anything. So it's really a lot about the power of the moment, because in additions, they don't look of your path, they don't look at everything in a huge perspective, they look at what you bring right here, right now, on stage, in front of the teachers and the other people. So it's really about the power that you have in the same moment. And there's no equation, there's no way to do any equations between me and someone else, not in general and not about this one same moment, because no one understands what is happening with the other one in the same situation. Like I can be super stressed because I haven't slept before, and she can be, I don't know, super hungry because she didn't eat, and we both gonna have good or bad situations or results as a result of the way we came from this morning. So it's not even about the additions, it's about preparations. So that takes me to another conclusion of preparation. Get prepared. It's taking a lot of resources to get to the audition in your best situation, because you want to arrive, because it's one moment, it's just a day or a few hours or 10 minutes or 3 minutes, you're on your technique and showing your best. You have to arrive there when you're well fed and well slept and everything is ready to show your best thing. So it takes the resources, it costs money, it takes the time, it takes the energy, and we need to be able to put our resources into becoming better, becoming the best. It can be the becoming the best for a show, it can be becoming the best for other varieties of our jobs, but about the audition, because it feels super stressful and it's like one moment it's just like 3 minutes of your number and maybe 1 hour of acrobatics and prepa and then flexibility, whatever. So you need to concentrate a lot of the efforts and the resources you have into this moment. That means that even if you're gonna get I don't know, you're gonna get a train and not a bus, or you're gonna get a Airbnb and not get a tent, or whatever energy and effort and time and money you need to put on this to become better, whether it's doing more practicing before the audition to get your number really fucking sharp and good in 3 minutes and not a 10 minutes, which is a huge mistake I did. So eventually it's about this preparation, it's about this resources. And the most important thing is that it's the fact that it's worth it is about me. It's not about the yes, it's not about the school, it's not about anyone or anything else. To make it worth it to arrive to the audition is all about me, because some of the schools are requesting for money because, well, basically there's lots of teachers involved about this and they need to receive their own paycheck at the end of the day. So it's very reasonable to ask for money, beside of asking whatever it is that I need to prepare to the audition. So it's not only the averagely 100 or 200 euros of arriving to the place and the averagely, like, let's say 20 euros per day for food, and not saying anything about sleeping somewhere, which is a huge difference whether it's an Airbnb or a camion or your tent, whatever. So everything costs money. So just to think of the fact that one day might cost me like 25 euros in most places. In the last edition in Circule, Théâtre Circule, it was 100 franc. It's like 100 euros pretty much, plus another 10 for sleeping there, for the camping, which again, I'm not saying it's a lot. It's 5 days, so reasonably when you divide it to 5, it's again 25 euros. It's okay, it's the same. But that's not a bit. Like, it's like few hundred shekels that you put only in being an audition without any promise for response. So the question, does it worth it, is very hard for me to answer, because it's up to you. It's up to me. Because it's the question of how do I use this edition. Because this one edition can be a huge jump through, and it can be a huge place to get connected with people, which is my next conclusion. And it can be a huge makpetza, it can be a huge trampoline to go up into other things that might didn't make this edition worth it, or I didn't got into the school, and in Lido it was really annoying. Like I paid so much just to get there and to be there, and like eventually I didn't even pass to the stage, and I was like, not only mentally hard to receive this, but it was a huge question of, okay, so what was it all worth it for? And afterward I realized, well, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. And in each edition, I learned so much. So much. So it's all the question of how do you use this opportunity? Because it is another opportunity. It's an opportunity for the next conclusion to get connected and to get communicated with places that do professionally what I want to do. And for people, as I said in the beginning, people my age doing pretty much what I'm doing. Some of them hoping to get into the circus schools. Some of them are doing the auditions for other things. And suddenly I have the option in one place, in one day, just for a few hours or plus minus, to not only to show my who am I, and to prove in a way, first of all for myself, yeah, but after this, but after this also for other people, for the teachers, for the managers, for the people in my group. And suddenly I have the ability to get connected and to know others as well. So it's a huge opportunity just to understand, wow, just to understand who is it around you. Like, I know now that if I want to do a show, okay, I know already few people that I have in mind that I want to do a show with, just from seeing them in a few days in the auditions. So as we got to Théâtre Circule, which is the next part of what I'm gonna talk about. So we just asked each other, what's your names? And we got like in a minute, really, in like a minute or two of conversation, we got from hi, who are you? What's your name? Into I know him. Yeah, I'm going to a weekend. Yes, and like 1 minute of conversation from not knowing each other at all into understanding that actually we know each other's friends and we passed through there and we saw her show and like somehow we know each other. So just to get connected to this kind of people and to understand that a lot of the schools, well, it's not the only thing, like the thing you're auditioning for, this huge program, this huge degree or artistic program or whatever you're auditioning for, it's not the only thing that they can help you with. Like most of the places are doing residence, most of the places are giving a lot of stage, a lot of workshops. They're giving place for laborant, for students that finished. There's a lot of other things that these schools can give you and help you with along your way beside this huge program. So only to be aware, to arrive to the schools and to see their equipment and to see the people and to see the vibe and to receive this and give this from you as well. It's something which goes back and forth, and it's really exciting to be a part of this and to feel this and to understand, okay, in this and this school there's really good aerials, in this and this school there's no aerials, and I didn't even met the aerial teacher, so I won't prefer to go to this school. But in this school there's music classes, so actually I can just write the name of the teacher and communicate specifically with the teacher even if I didn't got into the school. So there's a lot of ways to use this kind of connections and communications. Yeah. Now, before I'm passing to the part which is specifically about circule and the answer and everything, I just have to give a very nice conclusion into this, because with the resources and arriving to the audition and these connections and communications, I think that the summarizing of all of this few short, fast conclusions is basically to understand that it's not only me. Okay, it's not only me. There's other people. There's other abilities. There's what the school can give you, what I can give to the school. Is there a connection about the things? Like, there's a lot of things behind arriving to do an audition and to get this yes or no, beside just be your best. There's a lot of things happening. It can be just like you will be your best, but someone was better and more matching to what the specific teacher of his technique wanted. It can be the budgets of the schools are enough to get 5 people, so they can't get 6. The facility itself is like they have 3 trapeze, so they already have 2 people in other programs which are doing trapeze in the same time in the schedule, so they can get only 1 trapezist. They can't get 2. It doesn't matter how they will turn it around. This is the options they have. So there's a lot of things behind the screens, kind of, that when we just arrive for 1 hour, for 1 moment into the school, we probably might miss or don't understand or don't even think of those things behind the scenes, and just hoping to get a yes based on what I'm doing. But the fact that I got stuck on the TSU, or the fact that there is other few more girls doing TSU, or the fact that the school doesn't or do have an aerial teacher, there's a lot of mishtanim, a lot of categories kind of behind the screens that you can't even be aware of when you're just arriving as a candidate. So it's something which is very important to keep in mind, not only for auditions, in general, when you're going to anything like מפעל הפיס, קולות קוראים, כל פסטיבל, הכל. It's not only you, it's also what the other side can give to you, and what resources do they have, and how do they choose to put them in. So it's not only you and your resources and your things. And again, it's not about the world, it's not about everywhere, it's not about every time. It's right here, right now, in this specific school. And every school and every program is very, very specific. So check the things before, arrive ready, do your best. But keep in mind that it's not only about your best. It's also about what their best is right here and right now. So, for the last few minutes, I think I'm gonna go back into the specificity of the last edition in Théâtre Circule, that I just want to share with you a little bit of what happened during the week, and not that generally from all the auditions and the schools I've been through. So, actually, I thought it was not that week, it was the week before. I actually really needed an extra week to relax from these 5 super intensive days. It was very, very hard. But it was super satisfying. It was super pushing. It was like the biggest motivation and acceleration 5 days that I've ever had. It was very intensive, so very, very good. So, a little bit about the Théâtre Circule in general. It's a very family kind of school. It's a school that was founded about 30 plus years ago, about 30 years ago, 32 years ago, maybe something like that, by the woman, oh my god, Yvette Chandel, that wrote this amazing fucking book, this Bible of mythology of cord and tissue. She wrote the book, okay? Like, yeah, she wrote the book. And I just fucking realized this, that Yvette, the girl that actually wrote the book, was the one that actually managed the school and builded this school, Théâtre Circule. So I actually got this book from her and a hug at the end of the edition, which was the best present I could ever do. So that was already a huge thing that I really wanted to share with you guys, and I hope you understand how fucking happy I am about this. If you don't know what is this, it's pretty much the Bible of aerials. So yeah, I have some good plans about this book, and I'm really, really happy and excited to finally have it in my hands. So again, Yvette, thank you. So that's a huge, amazing, good thing I've got from this school. So Théâtre Circule is actually a very family kind of school. It's like Yvette was founded about 32 years ago, and her son is now managing it. So Patrick is there for about 30 years as well, and I think that he's in charge on the auditions and how does it called? Not artistic, professional formation for about 15 years or 20 years, something like this. So he did manage quite a lot of auditions, but really this edition was very interesting, because from one end it took us into a very nice journey, and on the other end it seemed like they really kept us in kind of unknowing, kind of vague knowing of what is going to happen. And I'm really not sure if it was intentionally because they wanted to give us this mystery kind of תסתדרו בעצמכם כזה, בוא נראה אתכם kind of vibe, or they really didn't know by themselves if the teachers are there or not, if like whatever we can pass through this week. So it was kind of, I don't know if it was building as we go or they just told us the things as we go, but this is how it felt. It added a lot, kind of mysterious kind of feeling of like, oh my god, what do we need to deal with now? And like they're getting into the studio and like, okay, this is your challenge and you have to face with this like very now on the moment, and you can't, like, we didn't got a schedule. We knew out of the beginning it's going to be like morning till evening full days, but we never got a schedule, and it was very wow. It was not easy, but it was good. So 5 days of what did we do? I think that's the question that was the most that I received the most. What did we do and what was the answer? So I'll get to the answer at the end, I promise, but what did we do is pretty much that. In general, it was the idea of this week was to take us to the extreme of our abilities and then push ourselves even longer and farther, more and more. So this edition was really, like, intensive is not even enough to describe. It was crazy, really crazy. It was 5 days that took us, they started with, in general, it was a lot of ballet, theater, and your technique, with all the other circusy things they have to check, like acrobatics and handstands and preparation, physical preparation, other things. So, how did it go? It started in the first day of basically who are we technically. After the opening conversation of kind of getting to know each other, we did a very technical and very good, strong day of starting from ballet. It was kind of an hour or 2 hours, I don't remember, of ballet, like really the basic, the very basic, the stands, the poses, the holding the legs, the hands a little bit, and pirouettes and stuff like that. But very basic of ballet, but very strong. Like, she really wanted to see how every muscle of us works, how we're standing upright, how we're like pirouetting and things like that. How do we move? How do we get into the rhythm? So it was very basic ballet, but it was very tough. So thank you, Sasha. It was amazing, but oh my god. After that, we had pretty much the same idea, the same principle with acrobatics. So we didn't got to do crazy flicks and saltos and stuff, but we did do a lot of the basic things of how do you hold your body in movement. So if before it was just twists and turns of like ballet things, so now it was really acrobatics of a bit of handstands, a bit of like butterfly jumps and rolls and boleg and this kind of stuff, but with a lot of holding your body. Also in trampoline as well, just a lot of holding your body and כזה כוח מתפרץ, סיבולת כזה בקטנה, a lot of like כוח מתפרץ, איך אומרים את זה באנגלית? Yeah, so short-term power, I don't know how to say that. So yeah, in general there was 2 or 3 phases, like parts in each day. So it was kind of divided in general. In the first day it was who are we technically, and in the second day it was more of like kind of who are we mentally in a way. So we had a dance session and a theater session of how do we move? How do we tell our story? What is our path in life in general? And in circus specifically, like how do we express ourselves? How do we express stories that we want to bring on stage? What is the ideas which are important for us to share? So it was very, very mentally kind of day. In the third day, we had more of like who are we practically, kind of. It started in the morning with physical preparation, which was, oh my god, it was very tough, very, very tough. And then we had our technical time, kind of, and then we had dance and improv. It was a lot of work with improvisation, a lot of work with music and with working with not with each other, only with yourself. But it was very, I don't know, it's very hard to explain. It was very ishi, very personal. It was very mental. It was very how do you feel right now, and how do you want to express yourself right now, and what is your idea that you want to bring on stage. It was, again, it was very family kind of place. Like all the teachers, all the students, everybody lives in vans around the tent, and like just when we finished the week, so loads of teachers came back from vacations, and suddenly you have like 3 times more caravans everywhere around. So it was really nice, a huge chapiteau, and everybody just, there's no separation from work or family or business or learning or whatever. Like everybody are living there together as a family, which is very nice. And that way, like he really told us in the first day, like, okay, if I want to know who you are right now, I would bring you only for 1 day. But if I want to know who you can be, and I want you to discover who can you be, I want to give you here 5 days of bringing you into extreme, into this wave of understanding what can you do. And the fact that every drill that we've done, whether it was theater or dance or whatever, or our technical, it was really about finding our limits and being able to arrive there and push them a bit farther. Like really, between the second and third day, I think it was, Patrick really came to us and told us like, okay, so today, if yesterday you came to your maximum, so today's minimum is yesterday's maximum. Like the maximum you got to do yesterday, if you got out of the studio crying, if you were hitting on the floor, if you were whatever, puking after practice, whatever was your maximum yesterday, today is your minimum. This is where you start, and I want you to go up, higher, stronger now. And again, most things were not with Azara Merosh. It was just, okay, getting into the studio, getting instruction, who goes first. And as I learned from life, it's usually better to go first. And I think that the only uh, drill that we did that I was not one of the first like 3 or 5 that went on stage was a very nice and funny one that they put us, and I think it was also in the third. I don't remember in which day it was. Sorry, maybe it was in the second or third day, or also that we had kind of improvisation time, and they brought us one of the. Oh, I'm just giving you an example of one of the things they did for us. Um, After dancing all day and making choreographs and stuff like that, so they gave us a drill of, okay, I'm putting on music and you can listen to the few first seconds, and if you like it, stand up. The first one standing up is the one going on stage and using the music. If you don't stand up, you can't use this music, and you have to bet, kind of gamble for the next few musics. And you have like 3 seconds. You have no idea how the songs will continue, so you can kind of understand if it's jazz or if it's rock or whatever, but you don't really know the songs. And they did put a few songs that I knew, but most of them not really. So in this one, I think I was kind of in the middle end, and I didn't really wanted to get to the end, and he did it kind of like easier songs in the beginning and faster and more tough songs in the end. So yeah, I got a chance. Like I heard something that I liked with some guitars and stuff, and I said, okay, I'm going for it. I just stood up and I took it, and really after maybe 20 seconds of nice guitars, it becomes a huge, crazy ass rock music that, like, wow, I think that I've never ever moved on stage that fast and that strong. And I actually fucking did a rock slide, like on the knees, like really fucking awesome in front of the teachers. It was really awesome, really, really fun. Yes, I got fucking burned in my knees and in my legs, still do, from this rock slide, but it was fucking amazing. And this is exactly what I'm saying about like using those opportunities to use this stage and this safe place that they are giving you with the other candidates. And it becomes, out of an audition, it becomes into a very safe space to put on stage whatever you choose, whatever you want. So if suddenly I had the option of dancing like crazy with this crazy ass rock music or metal, whatever that was, it just proved me, okay, so I can hold my breath on stage for 3 or 4 minutes in this kind of rhythm, and I don't have to move so slow and search and be on my own rhythm. So it's this kinds of opportunities that I like to use when someone is giving to me. It's like a gift for me, really. So this audition really showed me that I can take my rhythm up, and I can work in the intensivity of 3 sessions, work like very intensive work sessions in a day, not only in a week. So if I went from state of mind of let's do 3 or 4 practices a week, so suddenly this week showed me that I can do 3 practices a day, every day, which is insane. So I will continue into the last 2 days of the audition. So I think that after we went through the technically of what and where we are right now, and then the mentally of how do we express ourselves, and on the third day, practically of our technique, we finally got to work with our teachers and with other people doing our technique. There was like between 1 to 3 people out of each technique that they took. No, there was not all the techniques, but like as a tissuist, there was another two tissuists and one girl doing trapeze. We were aerialists, and out of all of us, they took only one person doing tissue. So yeah, it's a pro for the answer. Uh, so on the fourth day was a lot of question of who do we need to break to become what we want and need to become, basically. So it was a lot of theater and technical and improvisation with and without music as well, of kind of understanding what do we need to break into becoming something else. And it was a lot of like, what's your dream kind of question. It was a lot of interviews and things like talking about it and showing our dreams and what we can be and what we aspire to be and what do we want to be. It's not just like what are we in the moment, is also how do we see ourselves on stage in general in the future, in what do we want to be able to do even if we're unable physically to do it right now, which was really amazing to pass in this last 2 days of what do we need to break and what is it that we need to figure out with ourselves, and they really faced us in front of our problems and in front of whatever we need to face to really take ourselves into the next step. And I think they really wanted to see as well who is willing to step up to the game, what's called, to be able to face with his problems and to face with the fact that he needs to work hard by himself, because a school can give you all the tools, but if you are not working hard, if you're not going into the chapiteau and practicing, if you're not eating well or into this right state of mind, you will not get anywhere. So they really needed to see if we have the strength to face this. And honestly, not everybody in the audition had it. Like, some people on stage just went on stage and did like, I don't care, and went off. So not really all people are able, like, the fact that you get into a frontal audition and you're kind of in like the final step doesn't mean that they will automatically accept you if you have an amazing technique. It's also about your mentality and your state of mind, which is very important. Now, the last day was really about our dreams, about what can we be and who do we want to be. They checked a lot of our abilities on technicals and on our technicality and our improvisation and our music and even our ability to organize by ourselves. So for the last day, and with this I'm going to get to the answer I got, because it's already a bit longer than what I expected to be talking about, but yeah. So the last day was pretty much presentation. We expected to have two presentations. At the end, he surprised us with a third one in the afternoon. It was just we were scheduling the order of what is happening and who is performing when. And in the first time, they came to surprise us with the music, and then they surprised us with another music. In the other, like, they reversed the order that we did, so I was supposed to be last, and then in the second time that he surprised us, I was first to start. It was with a surprise music, and just hold yourself up there for 40 minutes or for a full number of 3 or 4 minutes. So it was a lot of surprises. And then at the end, at the evening, we did our final presentation to everybody that was willing to get into the chapiteau and be our audience. So suddenly the people that we were not allowed to speak with all this time, all this week, some teachers, some students, some other people, came to watch us. And there was a live audience finally. It was really fun. So there was someone to really... there was someone to speak with. There was someone to get reactions from. It was not just Patrick and his incredibly power poker face. So yeah, it was really exciting to have this perspective from other people, and to have this emotion. And the biggest challenge that we had in this presentation was with no pre-recorded music and being alone on stage. So that means that we could have sang or make a rhythm or playing a guitar or doing some kind of whatever idea we have. My idea was to do it in kind of a musical. Well, actually, I tried to sing on the tisu, and I made up kind of a song, and was I have my idea and everything, and I just went on the tisu, and I was like, okay, let's talk. I started in French. I finished in English. Everything was a mix between talking and singing and French and English. It was really funny. It was really fun. And yeah, I'm really happy from being able to finish the show and receive all this applause, and people are just like sitting on the tissue looking up, like under the tissue, and I'm on the tissue looking up, and like it's an amazing feeling, and I really miss being on stage. So this is another huge conclusion I got from this edition. After doing this presentation, we got to the most exciting and hard part of the audition, which was waiting for an answer. And the answer was tough. It was the toughest moment, really, because that's it. You don't have anything else to do. Like, I gave my best. I used the stage. I've put my shit on. I've seen what others can do. I've gave my feedbacks, my positive, good stuff for others. Like, okay, there's nothing I can do now, and it's Patrick to decide because he's the one managing the school. So it's not like a huge panel like they do in most schools. Like, it's mainly him, and you have nothing. Like, you have no idea. You can only guess, but and in this situation, everybody just want everybody to join and to be, because you just passed a week together, and everybody did a lot of very personal things on stage that, for me, just to be able to do those personal things was a huge step, because like, until you don't try it, you don't know how it feels. So just to have the opportunity to try those things was amazing. And I was last to receive answer. They got 4 people, I think, like between 3 to 5 people. I think it was 4 people they got, and 1 Tisu person, and it was not me. It was not me. So I got another no from another school. But I think it was the best no that I got, because I got a very big no for being in the school, but I got another very, very, and much more important yes for my own way, which is, for me, is much more important than the yes or no for the school. It's the yes or no for what I do. So what Patrick told me, basically, and it's very similar to the feedback that I got from other schools as well. And it's not easy for me to explain this and to understand this, but I do want to close with this hopes up, and to explain this to others, because even to the single ones I tried to explain, it was not easy, because, as I said before, it's not only about who you are and what you give, it's also about what the school can give to you, and it's also not in general which kind of artist or human you are, is about what you bring into this one single moment. So by what Patrick and the team of Circule saw in me during this week was that it's much better for me, and I am able to put on stage and to step up to the challenge when I'm doing things on my own. And I was helped a lot by being given a challenge and like a reason to prove something, and a place, a space to really prove this. But they see it that I can do it by myself, and they see it that for me it might be better to work on my own, and that the way that I am choosing to do things is much stronger than the way that others do, and it's very courageous. And the things that I chose to put on stage during this week was not just how do I feel and what do I want to be, but it was a lot of facing with things which are very hard to face, even in reality. And I use the stage to really take things out, because it is important for me to take things out and to make people speak about things which are like unspeakable, like the wars in Israel and a lot of things, a lot of shitty situations that, for me, if we don't put it on stage, we keep approving it to happen. And for me, I want to be able to put on stage like the toughest subjects possible, so we will be able to speak about this and we will be able to face this and to become better and to progress in the way we're facing terrorism and bullyism and chauvinism and a lot of shit which is happening in the world. And for me, really, circus is the way to speak about things. So basically what the teachers told me, and it came back from different teachers, that you have very strong energy. I have very strong energy. I have very strong ideas, and I have a lot of very original abilities and ideas and things. So they just told me from various schools, and from this school it was the most accurate and straight to my face. You don't need a school. Just it's a no, because we can't give you what you need. And it's a bigger yes to your path, because you know how to help yourself better than what me as a circus artist, as a circus manager, knows to help you. And if it's important for me to learn about being an independent circus artist in Europe in general, and specifically in France, so being in a Swiss school is not helping me to understand France. And if they don't have a course for how to be an independent artist by yourself, they can't teach me this. So I can speak with the teachers and other people, but they don't teach me that. If I don't have a music course or someone to teach me singing, so how am I supposed to fulfill the dream of singing on the tisu? Which I try, and I am close and I'm on my way, but if I don't have a teacher for that, so how can I make this dream happen? So it's not only about what you can or can't do, it's a lot about what the school can give you. And it was very fun and relaxing to receive this very honest answer from Patrick, that he just can't help me in some of the things that I want to progress in, and what he saw about me, that I have a lot of power. And like the way he said it was just that the mentality that I have about the way I want to progress about things is very different, because I'm not waiting for answers. I'm not waiting for someone to just come and help me and reach out for me and give me this hand to show me the way, because I'm willing to discover my own way, and I'm willing to fight for what's important for me. And it's not only mental in my head, I already have the plan, and I know the process, and I know the steps. And a lot of the people arriving to circus schools, they usually have the ideas or the hunch or the direction they want to go, and they're not sure about what they want to do or how do they want to get there. And they need the teachers, and they need this framework of being able to work and to progress there. But me, I've always had this in me, and every time that I got to a different framework or frame studies, I found more and more demands that I was like, yeah, why don't we do it better? We can do it better. I want to do it better, and I just needed to find a way in the frame or outside of the frame, to find how to make it better for me. So now it was very releasing to just get a very nice and straight answer from the framework telling me, well, this framework is not for you. Go ahead and make your own path and make your own framework. And that's exactly what I am going to do. So for the last 5 minutes of this live, I think that if you don't have any questions to write for me in the comments, I think that I will just share a little bit of what do I plan in ahead. Because after receiving this no for the school but yes to my path, I realized that even if I have more auditions and more schools that I thought of going there, I don't really need it, because this was pretty much the feeling that I got from each one of the schools, that what they can give me is not enough. What they can give me is not accurate to what I need. And what I can make for myself, for the targets and the goals and the objectives that I have to go front, is much more accurate. So for me, what I plan to continue with is to create my own artistic path, and of course to share you about this and to help you guys continue and do your own artistic path as much as you can, because it really gave me a huge motivation to just go for it as strong as possible. Because if until now I had the question of, do I do it right? Do I want to do it? Like, can I trust some other schools or some other projects or programs or whatever? Now I understand I don't have the reason to even try to look for them. So I know that there are other programs and other projects beside the circus schools, and as I said, inside the circus schools there are other programs beside the full degrees and full programs. So I do know that there are a lot of other possibilities to really go and visit kind of the schools, and really a lot of them we stayed in good connection for other possibilities beside the full programs. So this is one thing, and the other thing that I'm going to do is really to pass through the last year that I'm here. Fucking year, yes, it's fucking crazy. Um, and to just go through all the programs and all the shows and the workshops that I wanted and did got to see. And one of the best things I think that we can do is to go and to arrive to the people and the places that inspire us and motivate us. So, for example, it can be a specific workshop. I don't know. Tom Wexter, I always wanted to have a workshop. He's doing a workshop in September in Toulouse, so I want to go there. For example, just because I know Tom Wexter from before. Another example is I was looking in schools. I looked in who is the teachers, and in a lot of schools there is a name which is keep repeating in the aerials teachers. And I wanted to see and find out who is Fred Deb. And I found out that she did the Knack like 20 years ago, something like this. And she's now managing. She's got her own studio, and she's got her own. She's doing aerials conventions and a lot of things. She has her own company, her ensembles, her shows and stuff. So there I go. I've got like one teacher which is going all around the circus schools in Europe, that if I would go into a circus school, I would get maybe a week with her, like 2 weeks with her. And I can just go to Nantes and to go to her studio, and maybe even to go to a labyrinth with her, or maybe even to work with her in her ensemble. Like, suddenly I know exactly who do I want to go to and where. Another example that I can get to this is I found out quite lately about the National Center for Stage Costumes in France, which is incroyable. It's amazing. And for example, they are also doing workshops for stage and for costumes. So if, for example, it's very important for me to have good costumes, and it's a subject that was always interesting for me, and like my sewing machine is right here. So I can just go to the National fucking Museum of Center of Costumes in France. Fuck, this was amazing. And to see pictures from it's amazing. And to get costumes or stage workshops, for example. So this is, for example, an institute that I just want to be there because it's amazing. And I found out they're doing workshops, so here I go. So just to find this kind of subjects and this kind of people and this kind of institutes which are interesting for me, and to start to find these projects to be able to go into. Others' creations, others' people's workshops, other people's labyrinths, other editions. I told you I've got some ideas, and yes, and start to practice on my own, going with some really cool people to the street, to indoors, Christmas shows, all kinds of ideas that are popping. And right now, for me, it's the best way because I'm free. I'm free to do what I want. I'm not obligated to any school. I don't have to be in any city. I can choose what do I want to do with my life, how fast, and how good it's going to be. So I'm very happy to receive this. Maybe it's a no for the circus schools, but for me it's a fucking huge, amazing yes for me doing things my way, the best way I know to do it, and being amazing and eating this world alive. So this is the answer. No more auditions for me this summer. Thank you, circus schools, for everything you've given me. I'm out. Thanks. And of course, if you have any questions about circus schools or whatever you want to ask, you're very welcome to just ask me and ask away. Have an amazing weekend. Thank you for listening. If you've been here for an hour, you're heroes. I love you very much and see you next weekend. Au revoir.